Welcome back to Genshin Interact. Today we wanted to talk about the new Chronicle Wish banner, and we've kind of already gone over it in recent, at least with the idea of a new third banner system. But today we really wanted to just go over and look at HoYoLab specifically, look at the official things and what this has come out, especially with the 4.5 live stream showing us what is actually going on. So Rift, as we go through this specific article from Genshin Impact Official, what can you start telling us about the Chronicled Wish?
Well, right off the bat, when we were watching the live stream, I thought this was very interesting and caught several people by surprise because we didn't really get specific leaks about this. We were getting leaks about, well, there'll kind of be this triple banner idea. And maybe there's this regional type thing going on where we kind of see right here it's going to be kind of Mondstadt. Maybe we'll get leeway. But like it wasn't as specific to tell us how this is going to work. And now we have this. So I think it was a pleasant surprise with 4.5. So I think that's a very good thing. I'm very excited to see when 4.5 comes around, and you know, a lot of us will have wishing plans for this, and I think it's going to be cool to be able to finally say, yeah, I lost my 50-50 to Eula. I think that's just kind of funny, right? But anyways, hopping right into this and looking at just how the banner works. So we're looking at this little page here, article on HoYoLab. I'll just get right into it. It says, Dear travelers, during version 4.5, a new type of event wish, Chronicled Wish, will become available. Here we've gathered together some questions that you might be curious about to better explain the rules of this new type of wish. So the first question they have here is, what is Chronicled Wish? And what can I get from it? So Chronicled Wish is a new type of event wish that allows you to wish for certain rerun characters and weapons. Travelers can attain random 5-star, 4-star, and 3-star items from Chronicled Wish. Unlike other event wishes, the item list of Chronicled Wish includes both 5-star characters and 5-star weapons. So when you wish on this banner, you can get both the characters that you see here, Yulamona, Albedo, Klee, Diluc, and Jean, and any one of these weapons. It also includes a number of event wish exclusive characters and weapons. So looking right at the next question that they have here, Vixen, you want to take that away?
Yeah, sure. The question states that what are the rules of Chronicled Wish, and is there a wish guarantee? Wishes for Chronicled Wish require intertwined fates. Before wishing, you must choose your chronicled path by selecting a 5-star character or a 5-star weapon from the list of 5-star items below. If the designated item is a character, the 5-star items you can obtain in the wish will all be characters, whereas if the designated item is a weapon, the 5-star items you can obtain in the wish will all be weapons. There are guarantees for both the 5-star and 4-star items in the wish. A maximum of 90 wishes, like normal, conducted will secure a 5-star item through the guarantee, although that is a little bit of a hit for the weapons. And then when you obtain a 5-star item in this event wish, there's a 50% chance, like normal, 50-50, it will be the designated item you have chosen. You're guaranteed to win a 4-star or above at least one every 10 attempts. Like normal, you get a 4-star for every 10 wishes. I think this is kind of interesting because this gives us a little bit more feedback on what we're actually getting here. And then it's just kind of giving us a little bit more of an idea that, you know, these are probably at some point going to change, and this is kind of just interesting to go about. But now that we've kind of got the idea of what the actual banner is, Rift, what about the actual rules of this specific banner?
Yeah, so it says right here, after choosing a 5-star item as your designated item, if you obtain a 5-star item that was not your designated item, you will receive 1 fate point. Once you have reached the maximum amount of fate points, which is 1, which I think is very good. That's kind of an upgrade from the 2 with the weapon banner, which I'll kind of compare that a little bit later. The next 5-star item you obtain through this wish is guaranteed to be your designated item. So if I chart for getting Eula and I want to get Eula, I can lose that 50-50, but the only other characters I can get when I lose 50-50 are the other 5 here. So there, because Catching and Chi-Chi, for example, are not on this banner, you can actually get them here. So that is kind of interesting and kind of cool. Like if I'm trying to get Eula, I could lose and get Klee. Like that, I think that's pretty interesting, right? So it's kind of cool. Attaining the current designated item or changing your choice will reset the fate points to 0. Once again, works very similarly to the weapon banner, just 1 fate point instead of 2. To take version 4.5's Chronicled Wish as an example, and they kind of give an example of what I already talked about. They basically are just saying if you choose Jean, you can still get Eula, and then you get a fate point, and then when you get another 5-star again, it would be Eula that time. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the idea behind this is really interesting. And like you were talking about, just getting the 5-star characters, obviously, if you wanted to get another constellation for Jean, let's say, you know, you want the C4, but you accidentally drop a Eula, you know, not necessarily, you know, the best thing for you, but it's better than dropping, you know, any of the other 5-stars that we've consistently been getting before. It's a new character that you might have, or it's more constellations on maybe some like specific Mondstadt characters that you've wanted. You know, I think the only ones that would be that are standard banner characters on this specific banner are Mona, Diluc, and Jean. So getting these is kind of interesting, but I think the biggest thing actually is the weapon banner. Now, you have to remember that looking at the 5-star weapons here, you are still having to use 90 wishes. And so overall, you are having to get the specific weapon you want. You are still having to pull 180 wishes to get the specific 5-star weapon that you want at max. Now, you could get early, blah, 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 blah. But looking at things like Hunter's Path that have been added, as well as Beacon of the Red Sea, and then obviously, once again, you're getting, Eula's weapon. These are some pretty good weapons that we see here that you can get for these things. And instead of paying the 80 wish cost for a weapon times 3 if you lost both times, that's 240 max wishes that you have to use to get the designated weapon you want on the weapon banner. Here you only have to do 180. So technically you are looking at a more positive note on what you can get here. But if you look past the actual picture that they show below, the next question they say is, when the Chronicled Wish event ends, will my accumulated wishes carry over to the next Chronicled Wish? And how about the fate points for Chronicled Path? Basically, they're asking about pity, and then if that guarantee of that fate point also carries over. The wish guarantee count will continue to accumulate with the Chronicled Wish and will carry over to the next Chronicled Wish. Basically, you get to keep your pity. The wish guarantee account for Chronicled Wish is independent of the guarantee accounts for other types of wishes. So just because you've got 70 pity on this specific banner doesn't mean that you have 70 pity on the character or the event specific, let's say Raiden's banner or her Engulfing Lightning. Neither one of those are going to share pity with this specific banner. Your fate points will not be carried over, just like the weapon banner, over to the next Chronicled Wish, and your fate points will be reset to 0 when the current Chronicled Wish ends. So no matter what, even if you are like, I want to save my fate points, sadly you can't do that. So just keep that in mind. In general, basically it works very similar to the actual weapon banner.
All right, so jumping right into the next question, it states that, or it's asking, will the item list change between different Chronicled Wish periods? Are there corresponding rules for said changes? And they just say right here, the items in each different Chronicled Wish period may change. For details, please stay tuned for Chronicled Wish event notices. So there will be more coming out, but what I think they will be doing is you kind of notice here they've got a Mondstadt theme going. And so I think, and this is something that the leaks were kind of alluding to and talking about the possibility of, I think this is how they'll do it, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a leeway banner. After this one, and it'll have just leeway only characters and maybe some of their weapons, and probably it'll still have this Skyward series on here probably, and some of the other basic weapons, and only have like 1 or 2 of character specific weapons. I mean, I'm just saying that because I see right here, I mean, we have Song of Broken Pines that's specific to Eula, and then there is Lost Prayer to Sacred Winds, which is for Klee, but everything else is technically a standard weapon that was originally obtained from the standard banner. And then there is Beacon of the Red Sea and Hunter's Path, which are kind of interesting cases, right? Because they are for standard characters, but they're not obtainable right now. So I think that's probably going to be one of the bigger things about this, being for players who really have wanted Hunter's Path. I know I have for a while, and I know there's a lot of people that have like, I really want this weapon, and there's just literally no way to obtain it, but this changes that. So I think that's going to be very, very cool.
Finally, looking at the last question that the article kind of brings around is, when will Chronicled Wish be available? And just very quickly and briefly, they state that Chronicled Wish events will be available from time to time. Please stay tuned for official news and blah, 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 right? Basically, what they're saying here is that, and this is another thing, is that this wish, I don't believe, is actually going to be back-to-back available. So I don't think that they're going to have a Mondstadt available one for 4.5, and then 4.6. So this is going to be available during the 4.5 duration, and then, or during the future versions. But let's say if it's 4.5, like we are in right now, let's say all of a sudden, or, we're going to get 4.5. It's in this entire 6-week duration of 4.5. I don't think that 4.6 is going to have a leeway specific, Chronicled Wish. I think they're going to wait. It's going to be available from time to time. I think that's what they mean. I don't think it's going to be back-to-back Chronicled Wish till the end of time. So kind of similar to what a lot of people were originally thinking with the whole, is this banner going to be here forever? Is it going to be switching? How's it going to be working? It's not going to be like the permanent banner or like the event wish banner, with every 6 weeks they're changing and there's no real dead space, except for, whenever obviously the downtime and whatnot of things switching. But those are always back to back, and especially with the weapon banner and the event wish, they're just changing over and over again. So unlike that, this is not going to be doing that. It's going to be here, and then it's going to be gone, and then it's going to come back. So I think at this point, we're only going to ever really know. It's going to be something that we can kind of keep our ear to the ground and hope to hear about some future news. But at least for right now, it doesn't seem like it's going to be back-to-back Chronicled Wishes banners.
And then they basically just say, if you still have any questions, blah, 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 comment sections, future official announcements. So it still is something that I think can change in the future, just like Vixen was talking about with when it changes over to Leeway characters, perhaps, and then eventually Inazuma, Sumeru. So I think that is going to be very interesting, and that's kind of all they have right here.
Looking at these banners, though, this specific banner, just going through everything, personally, I think a lot of people have a little bit of an annoyance maybe about this specific banner or whatnot. Honestly, from what the leaks and, speculations and whatnot were showing, it seems like it was going to be way worse. Like, I figured this banner was going to be terrible. I figured it was going to be, it still is 90 wishes, which is a little rough. I thought it was going to have like 2 fate points, which thankfully it only has 1, so it's still a 50-50. The weapons are a happy change. I thought it was only going to be characters, so being able to get the weapons is a positive change. You're still having to get 180, but it's better than the weapon banner right now where it's 240. And then I know also we've seen somewhere else that the characters have to have already 3 reruns for them to actually come back on this specific banner. So they have to have 3 reruns. So characters like Zhao, or maybe obviously even the Archons who have had already 3, except for Rina, and I don't know about Nahida yet. But if you've had 3 reruns already, or 3 banners, sorry, I believe, then you should already be getting and coming back to. You have the ability to come back on the Chronicled Wish. So characters that have been out for a long time, it seems like they'll be able to come back, and they probably won't get their own event-specific banners anymore. Most likely, because I think the game's going to try to focus on all the new characters and all the new rotations of characters instead of having to wait an entire year for the new characters to pop up. But honestly, I'm excited for this. I think it's honestly a positive change. I know a lot of people have their different feelings about it, but personally, I really do think that this is actually a good thing. Like Rift was talking about, characters who want Hunter's Path for Tainari. It's the only, it's I think nigh impossible to get. I don't know if it's on the standard banner, if it's a 50-50 loss or whatnot, but if you can't get it there, then it's literally impossible to get. Beacon of the Reed Sea is the same way, so if it is possible to get, great. If it's a 50-50, but that's still a 50-50 loss on all these other different areas, so it's never a guarantee to get this weapon. But here, now it seems like we can actually get the ability to get these weapons that, we want to specifically go for. So, I don't know. Personally, for me, I don't know what you think, Rift. I'm okay with this, and I think it's a good fix for right now. I don't think it's a permanent fix. I think there's going to need to be changes in the future when we get a ton more characters. But for right now, I think it's a good enough fix.
Yeah, no, I agree with you pretty much all the way. I think it's a positive change overall. And I know some people have been upset about it, only being for intertwined fates. And it's like, oh man, why would you use your limited wishes for this kind of thing? And it's like, yeah, no, I agree with that. It may be for someone like Eula and Klee, since those are limited characters. Technically, it's not a waste there. I think overall, looking at this banner, it's definitely a positive on the weapons, like you already mentioned, Vixen. And I think as far as character goes, it's for older characters, but I think this is kind of MiHoYo's way of having the characters come through, like rotation, a lot faster. Because now that we do have all these new characters, they're trying to get all these new characters to come through on time. And so I think this is going to be great for especially like newer players and just early game players. They will be able to get their character that they're targeting a lot sooner than having to wait like an entire year just for a character to come through on a limited banner, if that makes sense. Like characters like Eula, we know they don't come around for a while, so having them come up through here from time to time, I think would be kind of nice. And just having more characters and more options coming through and rotating in general gives a lot of those new players and even veterans too, just more options and more chances to get the characters you actually want sooner than later. So I think all in all, it's a positive change overall. Like you were saying, there are things they could fix around it. Maybe like also being able to use Acquaint Fates on top of Intertwined Fates. Maybe that would be something interesting. Because I know if it was tied to just Acquaint Fates, it would probably be a little bit difficult to really save those up, kind of a thing. Because you don't really get those that quickly unless you really are spending Primo Gems to amass them, if that makes sense. So maybe if it used both, that'd be kind of interesting. But yeah, no, overall, I think it's a pretty positive thing. If you don't like it, obviously, just stay away from it, especially if you have a lot of these characters already. Just be prepared to get constellations, and you could still get standards here. So I think just be careful with it. You know what you want, and go after it. I think that's just what this banner is helpful for, to get things like Hunter's Path or Beacon of the Reed Sea, right? So that's my opinion on it. But I think that covers everything for this video. We just kind of wanted to talk about this and give our thoughts on this. And if you guys have any thoughts yourselves, please let us know in the comments what you guys think, because we'd be very interested to see your opinions on that. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.
That's everything we have for this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.